Something is burning inside you right now. Not dramatically, not obviously, just quietly, every single day. Your joints ache a little more than they used to. Your body is tired in ways sleep does not fix. Your stomach is never quite right. Your skin flares. Your mood crashes without warning. And every doctor you have seen tells you the same thing. Your blood work looks fine. You are normal, but you do not feel normal. You feel like your body is at war with itself. Here is what nobody told you. The battlefield is your gut. And the fire spreading through your system, the inflammation making you feel 20 years older than you are, it did not start in your joints, your skin, or your brain. It started in a single layer of cells, thinner than a strand of hair, lining the inside of your intestines. When that lining breaks down, everything breaks down with it. But here is the part that changes everything. Your gut is one of the fastest healing tissues in your entire body. When you give it exactly what it needs, in exactly the right order, the inflammation does not just reduce. It vanishes. Researchers at Columbia University confirmed in 2024 that the gut itself generates specialized immune cells that shut inflammation down, but only when the conditions are right. So today, we are going to build those conditions. 7 levels, 14 days, 1 complete reset. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if your gut has been off for more than 6 months. You might be surprised how many people are fighting the exact same silent battle. Level 1. Stop the bleeding first. Before we rebuild anything, we have to stop destroying it. The biggest mistake people make when trying to heal inflammation is adding things, more supplements, more protocols, more complexity, while continuing to pour gasoline on the fire. Level 1 is not about what you eat. It is about what you stop. Processed seed oils, refined sugar, gluten for anyone with gut sensitivity. These are not abstract wellness concerns. They trigger the release of dietary emulsifiers that physically irritate the gut lining. The Cleveland Clinic confirmed that excess dietary fats and sugars encourage the growth of the wrong gut bacteria, and those bacteria send chemical signals that ramp up inflammation systemically. The strange part, most people feel a noticeable shift within 72 hours of removing these foods, not because they added anything, simply because they stopped attacking themselves. In the first 3 days, your only job is elimination. Think of it as clearing debris from a construction site before you can build anything new. Level 2. Feed the foundation, not the infection. Here is something most people have never heard. The cells lining your colon do not run on glucose. They run on butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid produced when gut bacteria ferment fiber. Without enough butyrate, those critical barrier cells literally run low on energy and cannot maintain the wall that keeps inflammation from flooding your bloodstream. This is the root mechanism behind leaky gut, and it explains why so many people with inflammation also suffer from brain fog, fatigue, and immune dysregulation. The fix is surprisingly straightforward. Cooked and cooled potatoes, oats, garlic, leeks, green bananas, lentils, chickpeas. These are not random health foods. They are specific delivery systems for the bacteria that produce butyrate. Research published in Science Insights confirms the most critical factor for gut lining repair is diverse plant fiber, not one type, but a rotating variety that feeds different bacterial species. Aim for variety over volume. 5 different fiber sources daily is more powerful than a huge amount of just one. By day 4 and 5, your gut bacteria are starting to shift. The colonies that produce healing compounds are growing. The ones that produce the bacterial toxin driving systemic inflammation are beginning to shrink. Level 3. Seal the wall. Imagine your gut lining as a wall made of individual bricks, held together by molecular seals between each cell. When those seals loosen, bacteria, toxins, and undigested food particles slip through into surrounding tissue. Your immune system sees them as invaders. It attacks. Inflammation erupts, not just in your gut, but everywhere those particles travel. L-glutamine is the structural repair compound that rebuilds those seals. It is not a wellness trend. It is an essential amino acid that acts as the primary energy source for intestinal cells, coating the gut wall and reinforcing the barriers between cells. Research cited by the Cleveland Clinic notes that L-glutamine and vitamin D may specifically help repair the gut lining in ways no other nutrients can replicate. Add bone broth here, one of the richest natural sources of glycine and glutamine together. Studies show its gelatin forms a soothing protective layer over the intestinal lining, physically supporting the rebuilding process while inflammation begins to quiet. Days 6 and 7, the wall starts to close. Your immune system stops receiving false alarms. The inflammatory signals that we're firing constantly begin to calm. If you have never heard of L-glutamine before today, comment the words "new information" below. And if you are already using it, tell us how long it took before you noticed a difference. Level 4. Recolonize with purpose. This is where things quietly collapse for most people following generic gut advice. They take one probiotic supplement, notice minimal results, and assume probiotics do not work for them. The issue is not probiotics, it is precision. A landmark 2025 double-blind randomized controlled trial published in the journal Nutrients found that a multi-strain probiotic combined with vitamin D, taken for 12 weeks, significantly improved gut barrier function and microbiota composition in patients. Not a single strain capsule from the pharmacy shelf. A targeted combination. Lactobacilli and bifidobacteria are the specific strains with the most clinical evidence. They prevent gut hyperpermeability, suppress the bacteria that produce inflammatory toxins, and directly lower inflammatory cytokines. Bifidobacteria in particular are increased by omega-3 fatty acids, which is why combining probiotics with fish oil creates an anti-inflammatory effect greater than either one alone. By day 8 and 9, your microbial community is being actively rebuilt. New colonies are establishing. Diversity, the single greatest predictor of gut health and inflammation control, is rising. Level 5. Extinguish the fire directly. While the structural repairs are underway, we need active anti-inflammatory agents working in parallel. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been shown in human trials to reduce markers of gastrointestinal barrier damage and inflammation compared to placebo. The equivalent of 2 to 3 teaspoons of turmeric daily produced measurable results. Combined with black pepper for absorption, this becomes one of the most evidence-backed gut interventions available without a prescription. Omega-3 fatty acids work at the bacterial level in a way most people do not realize. Research from a registered randomized clinical trial demonstrated that omega-3s combined with probiotics and vitamin D measurably reduced the primary blood marker of systemic inflammation in subjects with elevated inflammation at baseline. Now watch what happens next. These compounds do not just suppress inflammation. They change which bacteria thrive in your gut, specifically increasing the bacteria that suppress toxins and decreasing the bacteria that produce them. You are not putting out a fire with a hose. You are removing the fuel entirely. Level 6. The system nobody talks about. You could do every single level above perfectly and still fail if you are sleeping badly and chronically stressed. This is not soft advice. A 2025 study published in the journal Neuroscience confirmed that sleep deprivation causes measurable shifts in gut microbiota composition, with direct implications for neurological and inflammatory disorders. Lower sleep quality is specifically associated with gut dysbiosis and gut-brain axis disturbances. Psychological stress works through a parallel mechanism. Chronic stress disrupts homeostasis in the gut microbiome, triggering changes in bacterial composition, increasing intestinal permeability, and amplifying inflammatory signaling. Research published in Frontiers shows that sleep, stress, and nutrition quality interact with gut microbiome composition to either accelerate or delay the onset of inflammatory chronic diseases. The repair window is open during sleep. The gut lining regenerates. Immune cells recalibrate. Anti-inflammatory compounds produced by healthy bacteria are released and circulated. Cutting that window short is the equivalent of doing construction on a building all day and then demolishing progress every night. 7 hours minimum. Stress management as a medical priority, not a lifestyle accessory. Without these two things, the other 6 levels will always be partial. Level 7. The protocol that makes it permanent. Most healing protocols fail, not because they do not work, but because they have no exit strategy. People heal, feel better, return to old patterns, and the inflammation comes back within weeks. Level 7 is about architecture. Building a daily baseline so simple it does not require willpower. Morning, bone broth or fermented food, plus a high-fiber breakfast, oats, berries, seeds. This delivers butyrate precursors, polyphenols, and beneficial bacteria before the day even begins. Midday, a meal built around diverse plants, at least 3 different colors. Research from Frontiers in Cellular and Infection Microbiology confirms that microbial diversity is the single strongest predictor of gut resilience. 5 different plant sources per day is the clinical threshold that separates a healing microbiome from a declining one. Ongoing. Multi-strain probiotic with vitamin D, omega-3s, curcumin. These are not temporary interventions. They are the daily maintenance that keeps the gut wall sealed and the inflammatory signals quiet. And here is the part almost nobody talks about. The gut lining turns over completely every 3 to 5 days. That is not a metaphor. The cells physically regenerate, which means the damage is not permanent, which means the repair does not take years. It takes consistency, applied in exactly the right order, for exactly long enough to change the bacterial ecosystem that controls everything. By day 14, the inflammation markers measurable in your blood have all shifted. Not because you did something extraordinary, because you stopped doing what was destroying you and gave your body's most powerful healing system exactly what it needed to do its job. Comment which of the 7 levels surprised you most. And if you are committing to this 14-day protocol starting today, drop today's date below. Accountability changes everything. The inflammation you have been living with is not your permanent reality. It is a signal, a specific biological message that something upstream has been disrupted. Your gut is not broken. It is waiting for the right conditions. 7 levels, not 7 miracles. 7 precise, science-backed interventions that work with the biology your body already has. The same biology Columbia researchers, clinical trial scientists, and NIF-funded studies have now confirmed in peer-reviewed trials. The only thing standing between where you are now and a body that does not hurt, does not fog, does not drag, is 14 days of building these conditions, one level at a time. Start with level 1 today. Remove one thing. That is it. The rest will follow. If this was useful to you, share it with someone who has been told their inflammation is just aging, because it is not. It is biology, and biology can be changed.